This video is sponsored by Full Reptile Collective, brought to you by Dan Hardy. Head over to their website at fullreptile.co.uk where you can find anything from training gear, t-shirts, hoodies, all the way to coffee. For an exclusive 10% off, use Dan Said So at checkout. Make sure to also check out their YouTube channel for some of the best MMA content out there, bar my own. Let's get back to the video. Right guys, on the main card, my favourite fight of the card, we have Damir Ismagulov. Gulov, yeah. These are going to be hard names. Versus Guram Kutateladze.
Kutateladze, I say. Kutateladze. Yeah, either way. Guram versus Damir is an easier way to go about this.
From now on, it is Guram versus Damir. Now, spoiler alert, we are both very high on Guram.
Yes.
I am high on Guram for the one fact that he has knocked down, really badly hurt, and beaten Matthias Gamrot, who I think is a future champion. He is an absolute beast, and if you're not aware of him, go and check him out, because since they've last fought, which was 2 years ago, he fought Scott Holtzman, Jeremy Stevens, and Diego Ferreira, and finished them all, no problem at all. Gamrot is an absolute beast of this division. To me, it's going to be like him, Shavkat, and Khamzat Chimaev. Like, they're all the new.
170 is just Europe.
It's just Europe, yeah, for sure, man. And Guram was unloading on the feet. He showed how brilliant he is, and he was meant to fight Don Madge at a time as well, wasn't it?
Twice.
Was it twice? There you go. Yeah. So late last year. So Guram has another Georgian with a lot of hype behind him, but he's facing a guy here in Damir who. His record is scary at 23-1. So on paper, he looks devastatingly scary. His intro into the UFC was against Alex Gorgees and Joel Alvarez after that, who again, Joel Alvarez on paper is a scary individual. And he's a very, very technical striker and grappler in his own merit. Thiago Moises, I rate him very highly. I know he's not had the rub of the green lately. And Rafael Alves, decent level of opposition. What concerns me is he likes to strike so much and likes to throw very similar moves, turning side kicks, a lot of spinning elbows in the pocket, doesn't address the situation of when someone bullies him, pushes him back a little bit, which as soon as someone gives him a little bit of what he can give, he seems to fade a little bit, whereas Guram is going to push that pace. They're going to be two bulls locking horns in the center. And if Damir gets sucked into Guram's world, I feel that 23-1 is soon to be 23-2. But what do you reckon about this one?
Yeah, I mean, just the biggest negative you can say about the Guram fight with Gamrot is that it was 2 years ago, and that since then Guram's had a knee injury, he's had a rib injury, but still, young in his career. These guys are 28 and 27 years old. They're in their primes. They're both coming off quite a few injuries. Damir's coming off quite a few injuries after he was pretty inactive leading up to the Alves fight, and we kind of saw him fade against Alves, which is very shocking. Just because you would have kind of put it the opposite way going into that fight, saying maybe Alves comes out and surprises Damir early, but Damir kind of settles into a groove. We've never really seen those aspects of Damir. These guys do mirror each other in a lot of ways. Damir has kind of forgotten he's a wrestler, and he's got to, remember he's a wrestler in this fight, because I do think he's going to have to wrestle and going to have to work really hard to keep ground control of Guram, who was taken down by Gamrot on several occasions in that fight. Gamrot was able to sweep, get up to his feet. His get-up game is very good, and his takedown defense wasn't bad. But to get to see Guram on his back, where Gamrot won that fight several times, and be able to survive those spots and hurt his opponent later in the rounds, I think those are huge, huge deals for me. With Guram, I have been able to see that he has been pretty active in the training, still going to UFC PI. So he's been training over in the States. I think that's a huge positive. He's been over at All Stars with Khamzat back in the day, of course, as well. And still, he's constantly featured. You see Guram in a lot of training videos. So he is keeping in there in that respect. The other thing for me that I think is a big factor in this fight, I think it's going to be the size and the physicality of the two guys. Because for Damir, grappling, I think, is where size plays more of a factor than in striking. I think you can have a smaller guy sometimes in striking kind of hang in there with a larger guy. Grappling's, I think, where the size matters a little more. And Guram, I do think, is going to be the larger guy here. Damir has flirted with 145 for quite a bit. He's talked about it. And I just think that from that standpoint, Guram, I think, is going to have the bigger, stronger, larger frame. This is going to be a really close fight. And these guys would be headlining any show that wasn't UFC or Bellator show, in my opinion. If this was this was in XMMA, ACB, whatever you want to call it, Cage Warriors, any of these, it'd be the headliner by far. This is an incredible fight. It's very close. I think the odds are a bit off here, and I think the odds over in the States at least are off with Guram being a plus 140 underdog. I think a lot of that has to do with Damir's been in the UFC for 5 years. He's fought a little more. He's fought more regularly here. They've both fought similar levels of competition. They have similar styles to them. Damir's got to be wrestling heavy, I think, to have a real chance, though. I think on the feet, Guram has a larger edge than Damir has on the ground as well. So for those reasons, I like Guram in this spot. We don't know how he's going to come back from injuries. We don't know about that, but still 28 years old, I'm going to say he comes back from the injuries okay. And as a result, I think Guram wins this fight. I think it could be a finish. Most likely, I think this goes to a decision, though. I think both these guys are too good and too sound to have the other one put him out. So I really do love this fight. It's my favorite fight from the card as well. I think overall this is a really great card. Even though it's only got 2 ranked fighters, you've got probably 8 or more future ranked fighters on this card.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. I think Guram is the future. Even if Ismagulov or Guram lose, like whichever one loses, they're both going to be up there in the future for sure as well. So this is just, it's a shame they're fighting so early on, but it's also great. And I'm a little disgusted that it's not the co-main. I can understand why Cerrone Lauzon is, but this should be highlighted as a co-main event. This should be.
Yeah, I'm glad I at least made the main card. I was worried.
God. Yeah. No, knowing the UFC, it would have opened it normally. So,
yeah, exactly. But it should be a good one. I get the people that are, on the other side here, but I'm on Guram here. Yeah. But I get the Damir side as well, and you should be pretty pumped to get Damir, under minus 200 because he's been rolling.
Absolutely. So we're both on Guram, guys.
Yes.
Excellent.